What's going on, everybody? It's Childish back at it again, coming at you with another Summoners War video, and we got some breaking news for the Summoners War community here. We got a couple of updates coming here in 2023, and the first thing that they're going to be dropping here in the first quarter is going to be a little bit of a monster balance patches. So again, some adjustments on the Summoners and monsters here. So we're going to take this time to talk about this video, and as always, fam, if you guys happen to catch this video on a whim and you guys are enjoying this content, you all know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you guys know when the next Summoners War Chronicles video drops, okay? Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. The first thing that they're looking to a change here is going to be the amount of damage taken when it comes to having an attribute advantage. And this is going to go to every monster here. Originally it was 10, but now it's going to be taken down to 30%, which is obviously really, really nice. I didn't think they were going to make that much of an adjustment, but we'll take it. Again, giving you guys more reason to bring in units that have that elemental adventure. Of course, when you first start on the game, you're not going to have so many units available to you to do it. But again, once we start getting to the harder parts of the game, we start getting an opportunity to really fine-tune our teams and make sure we have every advantage that we can take it possible. This is going to definitely help us out, give us that edge in order to clear that content. Next feature that we got going on is the bombs, which of course, super excited for all you guys that have been using bombs and do have a CR here. So ignores the original setup for the bombs here. If the bombs were on there, they would ignore the bomb, whatever bomb is on there, and it would have it basically explode after a certain period. They would go off, right? But now, if there's a pre-existing bomb on the target already, it's going to, when you put that second bomb on, it's going to explode the pre-existing bomb and just basically remove the delay here. So essentially, that is going to allow you to not only get a little bit more damage in there a little bit quicker, but it's also going to get a chance to bring in that stun components, which we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, some of these other improvements here. So again, really, really excited if you are heavily focused on the bomb comp. Obviously, the Oracles, the Jokers, Cobalt Bombers, M Champions. If you have any of those here, you can take advantage of that if you're utilizing a setup here that has multiple bomb users, or just essentially allow you to cast your skills a little bit quicker. Maybe you got your bomber on a soul link and you're able to jump in there, spam those bombs here and get yourself a little bit of a additional stun here. So next one up here is going to be for the units that provide the bomb explosion. It's going to be everybody basically but the M champion here. Originally it explodes a target, it explodes immediately if the target has a bomb, and it still does that. But now if you have if it's basically you cast it, you drop that bomb explosion really, really quick, you're going to get a little bit of extra damage proportionate to the amount of time that is left here. So the more time that is left, the more damage you're going to have here, which is nice because again, if you are playing PvP or whatnot, and you're chain cycling your skills, or you're essentially able to cast those skills right one right after the other here, you're going to get a little bit more value out of the bomb when it comes to damage. You're still going to get the stun mechanic that you always get, but now you get a little bit more damage, which again can make or break a match given what you're trying to do here. So next thing that's going to be going on here is the ignore beneficial effect change. Now this is kind of interesting because we've heard a lot in the community about the ignoring the beneficial effects, how strong they are, how super OP they are, the whole concept of Cleaf having to endure and not being able to be taken down, and then bringing in units that can bypass that, or units that can bypass the Chloe buffs, all that stuff. Really, really interesting stuff here. Now they got a little bit of adjustment to be made, and let's go ahead and get into it. Again, deals damage to ignoring all beneficial effects on target. That was the original aspect of ignore beneficial effects that we saw on various units in the game. But now it's going to change to ignoring the target's beneficial effects, and that reduces the damage taken, the invincibility, the shield, the defense up, and the endure and the soul protection are going to be excluded. So that is really, really an important factor to kind of consider here. Again, these units right now, the Fire Raven, the Water Martial Cat, super OP. I don't know. We've been so focused on Naomi. Water Martial Cat is definitely a high-end PvP unit here that I've seen a lot of people utilize. Lupinus as well, a very fantastic unit that's been taken advantage of here. And of course, for those of you guys that picked her up on a scroll, or maybe have got her on a secret dungeon here, Cassie the Dark Cowgirl, another fantastic unit here that is really, really good here. Of course, yeah, now it's a little bit different here. It used to be all beneficial effects, but now endure and soul protection are excluded, and rightfully so. I mean, it was getting to be really, really strong, and so now with the adjustment here, maybe it should be a little bit more fair play in my humble opinion here. Now, let's take a look at the next change here. Oh, death denial, ignoring defense for the endure, soul protection for the other units that have that kind of concept here. Wind Pioneer, Wind Lich, Light Mystic Witch, and the Dark Amazon. I, for one, built Mara really, really early into the game. I was utilizing it for the expeditions, and been taking advantage of it here. So again, that was kind of my go-to unit to utilize when people brought in Tions, when people brought in Theos, when people were using Cleaves in PvP, and that was a fun one for me to use. We got a new harmful effect called Unrevivable. Does not revive when defeated while having the effect. So again, this is only gonna kick in here for the Fire Mermaid. So I initially, when I looked at this, I was a little upset because I'm like, man, what's the point of a unit like Mara if you got all these new units coming into play that have this particular unrevivable harmful effect, but it is only one unit, so it kind of brings a little bit more of a reason to build Fire Mermaid if you have it. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with the changes. They're not too bad at all. Again, as always, fam, I'm looking to hear your feedback. Give me your brutally honest opinion in the comment section down below. Okay, let me know. Let Comptos have it if you like those changes or dislike those changes. Let them hear it. Okay. So now the monsters, though. Let's focusing off of the actual, what was it, the effects and whatnot. Let's talk about the monsters now. 5-star Magic Knight. Couple of changes here on the light, the dark, and the water. Now, me personally, I never got a chance to use this. I do have the water Magic Knight, but I did not build it up here. And taking a look at the adjustments on this one here, the recovery does not stack with multiple attacks. I bet that this was pretty darn strong here, considering she does have that multiple attack mechanic here. So I'm sure this is going to balance it out a little bit. Again, really cool feature on the dark one, being able to provide the improvement on the pulls and area attacks here. So like the changes on that. And Light Flood, I think that's a nerf, right? Oh, no, that's going to be an increase. That's going to be a buff here. So the cooldowns decrease, so it's going to be able to cast a little bit more. But the number of removals are increased as well here. So again, for those of you guys that were lucky enough to pull the Light Magic Knight, congratulations. I haven't described it, but not in this game. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little jealous of you guys. Now the Panda Warriors here, the Dark and the Water. Obviously Dark one, a couple of changes here, but not a unit that everybody has. The Water one, though, I'm sure a couple of people have. And you got the Reckless Assault here, which provides a continuous recovery, which is nice because it provides a little bit of a heal if you don't have any kind of immediate heal available, or if you're not like rocking a Kina. So good change on there. Sky Dancer, Fire, Dark, and Wind. Some adjustments here on the mana cost and cooldown. I like the changes there. I don't know if the Wind Sky Dancer, the Fallen Blossom is going to be enough. If that's going to be enough to really make me want to build it. Again, for those of you guys that didn't get a chance, maybe just came into this game, Wind Sky Dancer was the one that was provided in the event. So a lot of people do have a lot of pieces for that here, so they could potentially build it up here. But I don't know if that, we'll have to take a look to see how much of a mana cost and cooldown reduction it is. Because again, they're kind of vague when it comes to these notifications or this notes here. They don't specifically say how much they reduce, like 10%, 20%, 30%. So yeah, again, light, dark, couple of changes here that sound really good, but again, I don't have them. Don't really see a lot of people use them because not a lot of people have them, but hopefully they are going to be for the better. Sylph's change, funny enough, I do have water and fire, but again, did not build those here. Now we got a little bit of adjustment here where the wind one provides a remove beneficial effect, and that Cyclone is an AoE ability, so pretty excited about that because that's going to be bringing in a unit that provides obviously damage, but also another unit out there that provides a little bit of stripping when it comes to beneficial effects. As you guys know, beneficial effects are outrageously strong when it comes to PvP, so if you have a way of stripping those so that you can provide those harmful effects that do more damage or reduce the amount of mitigation they have, attack breaks and whatnot here, really, really good. Really, really good changes here. So let's take a look at the Polar Queen Light one. Target skill cooldown increase added, which is really, really nice. And then Brutal Order Summoner HP and skill cooldown decrease amount decrease. Now, pay attention to this because I'm going to be showing a video here really, really soon. Really interesting, unique mechanic when it comes to the Light Polar Queen as well as the Juno. Obviously, it's super rare for you guys to have that combination, but stay tuned as I think I'm going to be dropping a video real soon to show how sick this particular unit is in combination with one of the units right now currently super meta right now in PvP, which is of course Juno. Light Joker Camouflage removes the beneficial effect upon skill hit, but now is going to decrease the cooldown upon successful removal. So that's kind of nice because again, any opportunity to reduce skill cooldowns to get those abilities up again and be able to do them more is really, really good. Funny enough, Lucian, Amputation Magic here, I have not really been checking this unit out all too much because again, it's the Amputation Magic was the, if I recall correctly, you needed like a stun mechanic to be a part of it in order for you to get the ignore damage. So I didn't really think about building it, but again, this is part of the Light Joker, so that's kind of interesting. Remove buff effect, skill acceleration to itself, skill deceleration to target eye. So, I mean, like Joker seemed like it was already really good, but now it has a nice buff to really make it shine and really be up there when it comes to some of the 5-stars out there in the game if you're lucky enough to pull it. Let's take a look at the changes here for the Light Mermaid. Again, Light Mermaid and the 5-star, super rare to unit, but the recovery aspect, being able to get a little bit more value out of attack and max HP. Again, we talked about this in a previous video. Some of these support units out there are based on attack and not max HP, which kind of makes them a little bit on the weaker side because you can't focus on providing a little bit more effective HP. You kind of have to focus on one or the other, and you lose a little value. You know, you either make your heal strong or you make it tanky, right? So, Water of the Siren, or sorry, Song of the Sirens when it comes to the Water Mermaid removes a harmful effect if there is no bomb. So again, that's great. A little bit of a cleanse here. The Fire Mermaid, of course, having a couple of changes already put in. New harmful effect here. And skill cooldown up deleted. Okay, so that's going to be removed. Similar to the ultimate Grant Life as well. That's going to be removed as well. And also did kind of balance it out by providing that lower duration of the skill cooldown down. Okay, so a couple of adjustments on both ends here, but not too bad, not too bad. Wind Mermaid, I don't have it. I haven't played around with it, but any opportunity to provide a little bit more sustainability by buffing up the shield amount, I'm down with that. Wind Desert Queen, this is one of the units out there that early on in the game wasn't really getting a lot of love comparison to their sisters, their counterparts here, but one of the things that I did not notice in this one was the ability to reduce the target skill cooldown. So I already thought that was pretty darn good, but now they made an improvement here, so it's giving you more reason to make mess around with this when it comes to PvP. I don't know about PvE, but I have one, so I definitely might mix it up and play around with this in PvP. We'll just have to wait and see here. Light Desert Queen, of course, touch of destruction, not really worried about it. Small damage increase, not a lot of people have it, so not really going to focus on that. Water, Fire, and Wind Beast Monk got a couple of adjustments here on the recovery amounts as well as the activation chance. So again, for those of you guys that got this one, you'll have to let me know in the comment section down below if you actually have this one built, and considering the changes, how does it work out post monster balance patch here, post patch here? Because I'm curious to see if the amount of heal amount it warrants you to bring this in kind of a support, especially if you're not like a Kina per se. If you're an Orbi or a Cleaf, to have that support heal on the side is kind of nice here. Speaking of one of the strongest healers in the game here, Water Archangel though now has an incorporation of a harmful effect on holy water, and also has the offense increase. If I recall correctly, this is something that they incorporated in Sky Arena, that second skill being able to provide the defense buff here, so that's kind of nice. Let's take a look at Fire Pioneer here. Target skill cooldown up added, which is definitely going to make this one a little bit more viable. Obviously, it's already viable due to the fact that it strips here, but now it's going to provide a little bit more bang for your buck here. Now changed from removal after damage to damage after removal, so that's going to be good. Again, if you think about the whole concept of like invulnerability and being able to do damage on it, you can't really do damage on it if it has invulnerability, but now if it's damage after removal, you strip the invulnerability and now are able to do some damage here. So Water Monkey King, don't have this one here, but again, this is going to be able to provide the invincibility itself upon successful removal. A little bit different than, of course, Sky Arena, but again, any and all changes are going to be good for this one here. Looks like to be a change for the better. Water Pyre Captain here. Mana cost and cooldown decreased. It's going to be good here. Damage removed, but does decrease decreases nearby allies skill cooldown. So they removed the damage, but they got a couple of other things to change. I think that's going to be good for the better. And it kind of reminds me of Sky Arena, because the Sky Arena, time to loot does not do any damage as well. So let's see. Dark Ifrit. Oh man, that Dark Ifrit, I'll tell you what, those Ifrits are a pain in the butt when it comes to TOA and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have had an issue with that, but I've it's been a pain in my butt. I ain't gonna lie. Valkyria here. That's funny enough. The Dark Ifrit, like, if you got it, congratulations. The recovery amount, like, I already thought it was good, but apparently it's gonna get better. Dark and Wind Valkyria here. Couple of changes. Immunity duration equals to the drain, which is good. Looks like it's a potentially longer immunity duration for you. And then improve the damage of Wind Valkyria when it does not have invincibility. Obviously with the invincibility, it's going to do obviously way more damage here, but in case you don't have it here, it's still going to give you a little bit more little bit more damage than it did in the previous balance. So fire jack-o'-lantern, never messed around with these three ones, but one thing to note here, the water one, being able to steal those beneficial effects, I think is really, really good. Again, stripping, stealing beneficial effects, really, really good in this game. So like the changes on that. Water and Wind Raven got a little bit of a damage buff here. Wind Chimera as well. Charlotte, we got the Water Undying as well. A little bit of a damage boost. Again, none of these units I have used personally. There's just so many 5 stars out there. There's no way I can build them up and test them out. So I'm going to have to hear from you guys, for those of you guys that use this, you know, if the damage improvement was a decent amount. Again, they're very, very vague on these notes here. Just saying damage increase. There should be a specific percent similar to some of the stuff that he did when it comes to like a tribute, you know, damage taken down, improving from 10% to 30%. I like to see those changes come to us. We need to know those percentages here so we can get an idea of how much of improvement we're going to have here, or nerf we're going to have here. Water if right here, activation change from below certain HP ratio to lethal damage. Again, that's I think that's going to be that. Technically, it's kind of funny because we're going to be talking about that when it comes to Cleaf here soon. Spoiler alert, but you know, I think originally if it was anything like Cleaf, it was 30%, but now it's going to trigger to lethal damage, which means that the buff is going to have, it feels like it's going to have a little bit longer duration because of the fact that you have to get it all the way down in order for it to proc the Endure, which is kind of the way it should have been, right? But now I'm making, again, even though it's going to take a little longer to get that Endure, you know, the Theomars are generally not built outrageously tanky. So if people do go with a tanky build, yeah, it's going to take a little longer, but I would imagine they're still going to go with a heavy damage build here, since he could do so much good damage here. I've seen Theos do work here when it comes to my PvE comps or co-op dungeons that we've done in the past here. So really, really good unit. Now, a couple of changes on some 4 stars and 3 stars. Again, like Cowgirl, not something that everybody has. Water Fairy, don't see a lot of people build, but a little bit improvement on that heal. Water Mummy, again, improving the activation chance on the Frozen Body, which if I recall correctly was the initial passive in Sky Arena. Being able to freeze the opponent and have a certain chance upon removing the cooldown time. That's kind of cool. I like that. But yeah, overall, some interesting changes. Again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Let's get into the kind of the highlight, I would say, because as you guys know, when it comes to Summoners War Chronicles, we got a lot of things to look for when it comes to these balance patches. Not only, you know, the adjustments that are made on the monsters that we use day in and day out, but the Summoners, literally the unit that we control in the midst of all this. So I'm curious to see what kind of changes it is, because again, if you guys didn't get a chance to catch the previous video, some of the top changes the community has been talking about here, one of the biggest you know, talks about this one was the balancing of the summoners and how strong the Cleafs and the Kinas were compared to the Orbeas, you know, in PvP and whatnot here. So curious to see what kind of changes are made. Me personally, I have an Orbea as a main and I have a Kina as an alt, but my Kina have not been like, I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself to be like an outrageously knowledgeable player or good Kina player. I essentially just kind of built it up and utilized my main, you know, units here to kind of carry Kina all the way out. And every once in a while, you know, I'll jump into a co-op dungeon with her if we need, you know, a little more heals or a specific element of her kit in like a staff per se or whatnot here. But anyways, getting back to it, Prometheus Fire, change the damage after recovering a nearby target. So a little bit of adjustment there. Do like the change on the double win here, being able to strip 2 beneficial effects versus 1. I believe that is skill 3 on the wind staff, so that is good. I like the change here. You know, obviously there's a lot of units out there that have a ton of beneficial effects, so being able to provide a little bit better ways to strip it, you don't have a reliable stripper on your team, it's going to be good. Light Bless, skill cooldown, it's going to be down a little bit. Range increase, good. We like the improvements on the range. Stardust here, HP decrease upon revival fixed for all levels. So curious to see how much of adjustment this makes here, because again, the revival is a really, really big counterpart of this game here. A lot of the things, the endure, the revive, a lot of 2 mechanics of the game that are outrageously strong here. So curious to see how that balance gets adjusted and how it impacts the game. Let me know if your honest thoughts on that when you guys get a chance to check it out here. Dark Boost, I felt like this was coming. Maximum revives 3 versus 2. The revive feature was pretty strong, if I may say so. Again, for PvP on me, you know, Dark Kina was an automatic, you know, like ban for me. Never let that one through, because even if they didn't have a reviver per se, having You know, if they had like a Tion plus Dark Kina, I mean, it's just, I'm just never getting past it. And of course, considering the fact that I would always try to counter them with my Mara, it still wouldn't work out because of the fact that they just have, they're smart like that. They know what I'm trying to do. So they ban the Mara and they just, you know, wreck me, you know, at the end of the day here. So Fire Swing, still got the attack up, but now we got the skill tool down and AoE increase here. I do like all these ones here, the swings, the skill 2s on the fire, ice, green, and light here. Love the changes on the AoE increase. Again, as a Kina user, or as a Kina alt user, you know, when you're jumping into these dungeons, these co-op stuff here, there's so many, you know, it's very, very important as a healer to, you know, kind of keep an eye on your party and making sure that the buffs you're providing, you know, go to everybody. Ultimately, it's going to be hard to do that because everybody's moving around and adjusting depending on what kind of, you know, boss mechanics are in play here. But the fact that they're making it a little bit easier by improving the AoE, I think it's a fantastic change here for the units here, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for everybody out there doing their thing. If I recall correctly, the new update with regards to the CO, the new co-op dungeon here, you know, it's a dance party essentially. You know, there's going to be a lot of maneuvering around. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out here, so the fact that it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to make sure that you got those buffs up, the attack speed up, accuracy up, recovery received up, all that jazz. It's gonna definitely make it a little bit easier. Now let's get to what I would consider to be the strongest summoner in the game without question, Cleaf. And more importantly, the buff here, Tenacity Keeper. This is a passive that provides the Endure feature here for a certain amount of seconds here when you reached a certain percentage of your HP, and I believe it was 30%. Now it's going to be changing from the 30% ratio to lethal damage, meaning even though the endure duration is going to decrease for a few seconds here, it's going to take a little bit longer for that actually to proc, because now you have to kill it versus just bring it down to 30%. So it's interesting because of the fact that it's like a nerf and a buff at the same time. They reduced the endure, but they also made you, essentially proc it by, killing them, so to speak here. So considering all other passives, to provide a little bit of sustainability, I don't know. I can't even tell if this is a buff or a nerf. Seems like they're going to be in the same place, but we'll have to see, how that top 10, top 20, top 50 looks. Because if you guys remember from a previous video, we got a chance to interview Gregornaut. Gregornaut was one of the people that, kept a close note on the top end players out there. And without question, 80 to 85%, maybe a little bit more, of the summoners out there in the top end were Cleefs. Next one up being, of course, Kina, and then Orbi at the very end there. So, yeah. I don't know. The adjustments overall on Cleaf, again, I don't think anything else is going to be making a break. And the Tenacity Keeper is without question the big one that needs to be adjusted. Let's find out here in a couple of days if the adjustment is going to be enough to balance the unit out here. Orbia, though, do love the change here. I mean, without question, there just needed to be a little bit more oomph put into her, because even though she's definitely fine when it comes to PvE and providing what she needs to do for damage, there's definitely a big difference in what she can provide as a damage healer, or just overall playability versus like I said, a Cleaf or whatnot here. While Cleaf, depending on how you go about building it, you can still do damage, still wreck face with that unit. Orbia, can put up the numbers, but can obviously drop just as fast. So if they're not going to give any kind of support to keep her alive, which again, rightfully so, she's a damage healer, they better do some changes on the damage here, and that's what I like to see here. The burn duration increasing again. That's the ability, I believe, to provide a little bit more value when it comes to critting the unit. It's going to do a little bit more damage when you have that burn on there. So keeping the burns on this unit is going to be really good. Unrecoverable duration as well, really nice. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the changes. So overall, changes are good, but we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. Again, the cool thing about this is that these are some of the adjustments that they made on the Korea server about a month and a half ago here. So they got a really good taste of what is to come, considering how everything played out post, Korea, Monster Balance Pass. So again, fam, that's going to be it for the video. Just want to give you guys a heads up on what's going to be coming out here in the first part of 2023. Let me know, again, your brutally honest opinion in the comment section down below. Let me know what's your thoughts on this one here, on these adjustments that are going to be making here for the upcoming Balance Patch, okay? That's going to be it, fam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, ChildishPlays. Check it out. Take care, and we'll see you all in the next one. I'm out.